She slipped at the funhouse and her long hair got caught in the machinery.
I guess you could say that's not fun. What's good, YouTube? Today we are going to be looking at Zack D films. Y'all know, Zack D is my boy. I love Zack D. His films. Y'all know the dude that be animating them crazy shorts. Without further ado, let's get started.
Sunk his teeth into the opponent's ear and ripped off a chunk. The man jumped.
Okay, Zack, we're gonna have to work on these blood animations because you've been getting more and more realistic. I don't know what your end product is, but I've noticed your shorts are getting more and more like a little crazy. First, you're showing booty cheek animations and a girl's butt getting sunk into by a bear. Let's start calming down now.
Bleeding and screaming in pain. But a doctor let the match continue until Mike Tyson did it again. But this
he had to be on some sort of drugs, right? You're not Suarez, bro. If you know, you know.
time, he bit the other ear. Now the fight kept going until the referee noticed the bite. Tyson was disqualified, fined $3 million.
$3 million? Do you know how rich you gotta be to just discard $3 million? This is what I mean when I feel like athletes be getting too much money. Yo, who's that one basketball player? Anthony Edwards. Like, gang, there's no way you're willing to take $50,000 or $200,000 for saying curse words on interviews. Like, $3 million is crazy.
And banned from boxing for 15 months.
Damn. Yo, what personal agenda did he have against them? And who does the money go to? It better go to at least him, right? This dude.
When you blow on a dandelion, each tiny white parachute is actually a seed. The wind carries them until they land, and a new dandelion grows.
Okay, can someone tell me what's the purpose of dandelions besides blowing on them? Like, I actually don't understand the purpose of a lot of these flowers. Like, besides like decorations, what are they good for?
Which is why you see them everywhere. When the yellow flowers lose their petals, the seed starts to grow until it becomes a white puffball, and the cycle begins again. Now, most people just see them as weeds, but you can actually use the flowers for salads. The leaves can be cooked like spinach, and if you bake the root and grind it up, it actually tastes a bit like coffee.
Dandelion taste test. Give me a couple flowers I gotta try. We're doing a flower mukbang. We're gonna start off with marijuana. Who's with me?
They shot the blowgun while she was playing, and the dart went up her nose. It shot deep in her skull.
Yo, Zack, tread lightly. Can you stop doing this? Just give us some normal animations, bro. Give us some normal feel-good animations where we're like, wow, damn, like this is informative. I didn't need to see 4K animated dart going up a little girl's nose, bro.
Skull and lodged in the bone.
I'm telling you, Zack D films, he really just wants to make a Final Destination movie.
Right next to a major artery. And if they pulled it out, she could have died. Instead, doctors put a tiny camera and drill up her nose. Over the next few
This isn't funny, but the thought that they had to drill her nose with a driller as opposed to take that little dart out is crazy to me. It's more safe putting a drill down a girl's nose than it is to just take a dart out.
hours, they drilled through bone, removing small pieces until the dart came loose and it was carefully pulled out. He grabbed the stage and began to pull himself up. And when he climbed on top, the singer pushed him backwards. Now, the stage was 3 feet high with nothing to break the fall, so he crashed onto the floor, his head slamming hard on the
Bro, what were you expecting from a Travis Scott concert, bro? You think these artists actually care about your well-being?
concrete. The 19-year-old fan immediately went into a coma, and weeks later, he died.
If this isn't the greatest example of never meet your idols, then I don't know what is. RIP him. Also, do not get into people's personal space. Because at the end of the day, you got to understand, these people don't know you. They might appreciate the fact that you listen to their music, but at the end of the day, they're concerned for their safety as well. RIP.
Now, 2 years after that, the band flew back to perform, but officers were waiting at the airport. They arrested the singer once they landed, and he was charged with manslaughter and forced to spend 5 weeks in prison. But in court, the blame shifted to security for failing to keep the fans away from the stage, and the singer was found not guilty.
Wait, do y'all think he's guilty? I don't think he's guilty. I definitely think he's a shit human being. But bro, if someone is approaching you, you need some safety, bro. You don't know if they're coming at you with a knife or anything. I think it's just a very unfortunate situation. I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on this. But it should have been a security guard getting him, 100%.
You would pack shoulder to shoulder.
Yes, please. I want to pack shoulder to shoulder. I want to be right here. I want to be right here. You see right there in the middle? Yeah, because I don't want to be cold. Yo, who animated this dude? Why he got a little bit of curvature?
In a giant circle, and the outer layer would face deadly cold winds, while the
You see? Y'all didn't see it, but I recognized it because I knew that there was ladies in the middle. Bro, I'm telling y'all, bro.
inner group would be warmed by body heat, but the layers of the circle would have to keep switching, slowly moving people from the outside into the center of the group. If a person spent too long on the outer layer, they would die from the cold, leaving the inside exposed to the wind. Now, penguins have layers of thick fat and feathers to keep them warm during this, but the human body isn't as good at keeping the cold out. So each person would need to constantly wiggle their feet and squeeze their calves to produce heat. Otherwise, everyone would freeze to death in hours.
I don't believe this. I feel like everyone would be cooked, bro. It doesn't matter how much times you rotate. There's no way. At the very least, one of y'all would get like frostbite and your legs would be cooked. I wouldn't even want to try this. Some of these videos that Zack D Films be making, it's like, who asked for this? Like, how did this situation even come to be? No one was wondering this. He be making videos like, how many boogers would it take to land from the Eiffel Tower and land safely on the ground? Like, nobody be asking him this. He has a brain of his own.
His metal dog tag slipped out of his shirt while he was sleeping, and the chain dangled down and touched the exposed prongs of his phone charger. In an instant, electricity surged into the necklace, turning it into a burning hot wire. The current shot through his neck, chest, and hand, searing his skin, but he managed to tear the necklace off just in time, leaving him with nothing but severe burns.
See, this is why you need chrome hearts, bro. By the way, this is not me flexing my chrome heart chain that I got from Shibuya in Japan, all right? This is not what it is, but I'm just saying, bro, if you just got yourself some chrome hearts, then you would have been good, bro. That's all I'm saying.
She jumped a fence into the polar bear enclosure, right in the middle of feeding time.
Did we lose all common sense? She jumped into a bunch of man-eating animals that will literally tear her limb from limb. Like, is that not a crazy way to start a story? We need some context, bro.
One of the bears bit her from behind as she swam. Rescuers finally pulled her out, but seconds later, she slipped and fell.
Yo, this is not funny, but imagine being pulled up thinking to yourself, thank you, I'm finally out of there. I'm finally out, I'm free. And then you just slip back in there. That gotta be the worst stroke of luck.
Straight back in. The bear attacked again before they managed to drag her to safety for good. She had deep bites covering her body, but survived.
That's
and
good.
was later fined for trespassing.
That's terrible luck. Not only is she fined for trespassing, but she got all these hospital bills and shit, and she was about to die. Wow.
He pulled the bench out from under him and smashed it in half in front of everyone. You see, in medieval Italy, bankers worked from wooden benches called banca. And according to the legend, if they couldn't pay their debts, breaking the bench, known as rata, showed they were ruined and had no money. Together, bancarata meant broken bench, the symbol of financial ruin. Now, over time, the phrase was passed along to other countries, and eventually it was translated into English as bankrupt. If you instantly lost 300 pounds, surgeons could cut the loose skin along your torso and arms. Then they could stitch the extra folds together, joining them into wide wing-shaped flaps. The loose skin on your legs would also be cut on the inside, then stitched together. And once fully healed, the stretched skin would spread out like a suit. And if you jumped off a building, it could catch enough air to let you glide.
No, y'all cannot convince me that Zack D Films is not on some sort of like illegal substances or some shrooms. Because what inspired you to make this? I don't understand. Zack D Films. So whenever you see big people lose a lot of weight and get loose skin, your first thing is like, what if they stitch their loose skin and make a wingsuit? There's no way. Yo, Zack D Films, bro. You need your file searched, buddy.
The cobra wrapped itself around the toddler's hand.
Ew. Ew. Yo, Zack, why you made the toddler look like that?
Around the toddler's hands. Before anyone could react, he leaned down and bit its head. The snake died instantly, but the boy passed out on the ground. His parents rushed him to the hospital, afraid that he had been poisoned. But venom works best when it's injected through the snake's fangs. And since he bit the snake before it could bite him, he only suffered a little swelling and quickly recovered.
I don't know how to feel about this. Yo, bro, this kid is definitely gonna need some sort of like therapy because you can't convince me he's a normal person.
Fold the square in half, then unfold it to leave a crease. And do this 3 more times until you have 2 diagonal folds and 2 horizontal folds. Next, fold it into a square and bring the corners on both sides into the center line, making a kite shape. Crease the triangle at the bottom, then open the kite and fold in the edges on both sides. Fold.
Y'all ever do some shit where it required like this much tutorials and it tells you to bend the paper like this and bend the paper like that, and you get the finished product and then it's nowhere near what you think it is, all because you missed literally 1 crease? I hate shit like that, bro. This is why I can't stand tutorials that require origami or anything of that nature, bro, because a lot of the times I be messing up. I remember this is how I used to feel for like paper planes and stuff like that. I don't like it, bro. I don't like it.
Each quarter into the center, then pull the 2 narrow sections down and fold them in place. Stand it upright and fold down the head, then fold the wings to form a crane. He had to glide down toward a highway because his engine had stalled. But as the landing gear lowered, it hooked onto the trunk of a car speeding below. The plane and car moved together at highway speed. Once he noticed, the driver...
Once he noticed? So you're telling me the whole time he was just like vibing to Lil Uzi? He was just playing some Cardi and he was like, oh damn, wait, there's a plane behind me? Whoa, I didn't see that there. Like it's not inherently obvious to see a big ass plane just literally land behind your car.
Hit the brakes, stopping safely with the plane still perched on his trunk. No one got hurt, but the pilot said he would never fly again.
I don't blame him.
Stick your finger behind the eye.
No, I don't want to. No. You ever thought of that?
And pop it right out of the tuna. Then boil it for a minute to remove dirt and bacteria. Throw them into a pot with broth, soy sauce, and ginger.
Zack, have you tried this? You know fish eyes don't look like this. You did not have to animate them looking like big ass cinnamon rolls, bro. You just trying to fearmonger us and shit like that. I don't like this, bro.
Let them simmer for about 15 minutes. As they're cooking, cover them with tin foil to keep them moist. The fat around them will melt into the pot, mixing with the other ingredients.
I don't like how you're talking about this like this is tasty.
And once they're done, you would suck the juice out of the eye as a delicacy.
I'm good. Yo, Zack D Films, what about you give us a tutorial on how to make it and then you try it, okay? I'm thinking you made this and then you just wanted to animate it.
She slipped at the funhouse and her long hair got caught in the machinery.
I guess you could say that's not fun.
This pinned her against the floor as the rollers ripped chunks of her hair out, separating scalp from her head. When the emergency crew rushed to the scene, they had to cut apart the ride just to free her, but she was left with life-changing injuries.
I guess you could say now is the best time to take that trip to Turkey, bro.
As you walk on the tiles, the pressure creates mechanical movement that shifts a small generator inside the tile, which creates electric charge. As you walk on the tiles, the pressure creates mechanical movement that shifts a small generator inside the tile, which creates an electric charge. Wires inside capture this charge and send it to a battery where it's stored. Now, each footstep only produces 4 watts of power, not enough to charge anything.
If y'all could have any sound play every time you take a step, what would it be? I think I'd play probably like a vine boom. Now that'd get annoying. I don't know.
These tiles were installed in Times Square. They could create enough energy to power these billboards for a few seconds. He walked into the bank pretending to be a health inspector and demanded all the staff take a vaccine. They lined up and swallowed it, but
I'm sorry. Y'all let a fake health inspector in and nobody knew who he was and y'all listened to him? There's no way we're this slow. There's no way.
Moments later, they collapsed in extreme pain. You see, he had actually given them a deadly poison. And as it started to kill them, he grabbed cash from the vaults. 12 people died
Oh, it's a bank heist.
slowly and painfully, and all he walked away with was a few $100s.
A few $100? You were willing to end that much people's life for a few $100s?
As you slice down, the blade can slip off the pit and shoot in
Why? Zack, why? Why are we doing this?
your hand if you try to cut an avocado while holding it. If you stab the pit to twist it out, it can also slip, sending the knife into
What's the difference between avocado and guacamole? Like, why is there a difference?
your fingers. Instead, place the avocado on a cutting board and slice around the pit. Then rotate the halves apart. Tap the pit with your knife blade and twist to lift it out. And if you clean the pit, wrap it in a damp paper towel and let it sit for a few weeks, it'll start to germinate. Then just put it in some soil and you now have an infinite avocado glitch.
I'm not gonna lie, the concept of growing fruit trees and shit sounds beautiful, but I don't want to wait years, bro. I'm the type of person, I'm gonna be checking on it every day.
She dropped her diamond ring in the garden, accidentally burying it in the soil. She searched for hours, but never found it. And years later, she planted carrot seeds in the same spot. Beneath the dirt, one tiny seed sprouted near the lost ring. And as it grew, it pushed through the ring's open center, slowly thickening and wrapping itself tightly around the band. When the plants were ready, the woman pulled the carrot from the ground, and she found her ring after 13 years.
Damn, that's beautiful. After that much amount of years though, let's be real, she got herself another ring that she was probably more fond to. That's amazing though.
He tried to carjack the van with 2 kids inside, but the 12-year-old started punching him and screaming for help. As he tried to steal the car, she pushed the gear stick into drive and held it there. And this safety feature made it impossible to start the engine.
How a 12-year-old girl know more about cars than I do? Yo, bro, I need to get my license.
When the criminal realized this, he ran away. Police got him soon after, and the girl survived with only a fractured wrist, saving her sister and herself.
Amazing. It's always the bald people, bro.
The cicadas spend most of their lives buried underground, sucking sap from tree roots.
Whoa. Yo, y'all some freaks, bro. Yo, cicadas. Yo, chill, bro. Hey, stop sucking on that sap, bro.
And year after year, billions stay hidden, growing slowly in the dark. Then, after 17 years, they all begin to crawl out.
No, bro, I'm sorry. There is no reason why insects should be living that long. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Y'all lucky God gave y'all a shelf span of that long. Most y'all should be going for is a year, maybe even 5 months. But I hate the fact that y'all, no.
Billions emerge together, covering trees and fences and streets, and each—
Bro, just imagine if all insects just collectively gathered together and then they just decided they want to take over the world, bro. Would we be cooked? I don't know.
female lays hundreds of eggs in tree branches. When the eggs hatch, the tiny babies drop to the ground and dig down into the soil, starting the entire cycle again. After she withdrew thousands of dollars from the bank, he followed her through the streets. And while she was walking, he grabbed her and threw her to the ground. Then he took what he thought was the cash and started to run away.
Whole time you ran away with some napkins, some tampons, a lipstick, and a rose toy. Look at your dumb ass.
But he realized he had taken the wrong bag. So he came back and slammed her even harder into the concrete.
Did he pick her back up from the floor to slam her again?
So he came back and slammed her even harder into the concrete. Her spine snapped, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. He took the money and ran, but was later caught and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
I feel so bad. Wow. That's so sad. He needs more than 30 years, bro. You did all of that for like $50, bro. Come on now. I promise you put this energy into having like a LinkedIn, like applying for actual jobs, bro. You could get a good job.
If you plugged the top of an erupting volcano—
Zack, no one ever asked you this. There's not a single comment if I look at the thousands of comments you have of someone asking, what if you put a plug into a volcano?
would it prevent it from exploding? Well, magma and gas—
Yo, Zack, is that a tampon? Are we for real?
Well, magma and gas would still be rising from deep inside the Earth. And with nowhere to escape, the pressure would build higher and higher.
No, that is literally a tampon.
Until the rock around the magma chamber would start to crack, opening new eruption points miles away from the original volcano. But the pressure might cause it to explode sideways out of the volcano, causing the eruption to be even more destructive than normal.
Zack, why a tampon though? This is the size of the tampon that Bonnie Blue used after she got ran through by 1,000 men. Anyways, YouTube, that does conclude Zack D Films being crazy as always. Wow, Zack D Films, you need your hard drive search. These animations are insane. Make sure you guys subscribe, road to 1 million subs, join us on Twitch, all that good stuff, man. Waxer for life. Love y'all, and peace.